third and final concert I have to review was in a smaller room in the Engine Shed, and my god, that was a crazy concert. It was pure love, and they were supported by Pup. Now, Pup are an over-loud Canadian punk band who you couldn't really hear the singing, and they were a bit too loud really for it to be an opening act. They would probably get a 6 out of 10 as well, because they didn't seem to keep the crowd interested, and they didn't exactly interact with the crowd much, which cannot be said for Pure Love, but I'll get onto them in a minute. Basically, they played about 10 minutes after everyone came in because the doors opening was late, which was unusual, and they were a bit too loud. I went over to the merch booth to go and get the Pure Love shirts and EPs. I'll get onto the EP in another video. And they were way too loud. You couldn't speak to the person who was selling the merch, so you had to try and... It was difficult to tell them how to do it. Pure Love, though, that was one of the best live shows I've ever seen. Frank Carter, who I'm sure some of you know from Gallows, some of you will know from Pure Love, some of you will just know of his name. He was hanging from the rafters singing from that, as was the guitarist. They played songs in the crowd, they had circle pits going, they had snail pits going, they had human triangles. It was absolutely crazy and absolutely brilliant. Everyone in the crowd was into it, and I don't think I've ever seen that much movement from one crowd before. It's unsure as to whether or not they're going to be playing it live again after the tour that's just been... because the tour was dubbed The Death of Pure Love, but I'm sure they might be back one day. It'll be a shame if they're not to, especially after the reaction that they got for this tour. I even got, if I can just find it, my album signed by Frank Carter and the guitarist, which is pretty cool. I'll review that another time. But that was by far one of the best performances I have ever seen live. They played songs from that album, they played songs from the new Bunny EP, which I'll review again. A hell of a lot of fun had that night, and surprisingly no beer was thrown over me, because that tends to happen at concerts. What would I give them? 10 out of 10, purely because they were amazing and a very underrated band, a band who should have been headlining festivals but might never end up doing that. The whole concert, what would I rate it? Probably 8 out of 10. It could have been better. Pup were too loud and you couldn't really hear what they were doing, really. Very good from Pure Love though, and I really hope that they come back.